The Could Be Better podcast network is sponsored in part by the Frederick Let There Be Rock School. Let There Be Rock School, located in Frederick, provides a world-renowned music lesson program and an unparalleled after-school rock and roll community center. Listeners can now get their first lesson free when you tell them Could Be Better sent you. Visit www.frederickrockschool.com and click the contact button in the top right-hand corner of the page to get yourself started.
Again, listeners of the show get their first lesson free if you tell them Could Be Better sent you. It's not too late or too early to learn your favorite Olivia Rodrigo, Dragon Force, or the Black Keys song. So go now to www.frederickrockschool.com and reach out today for your first free lesson.
Okay, everybody, welcome into this episode of the Could Be Better podcast. This is, I guess, for all intents and purposes, the second episode of the third season. Is that correct, Chris?
That is 3.
Correct.
Nobody likes you when you're 23.
Oh, nobody likes me when I'm 58 currently. And we, going into this third season, we teased it a lot at the beginning or at the end of season 2. We teased that maybe that was the last one. It's not. We're here.
Sorry.
So, and yeah, very, very sorry. And so we are here. We're trying different things. This is one of those different things for this episode. And we actually thought it might be a good idea, at least on some level, to have one episode a month where we actually don't talk about music. We don't talk about any of the nonsense that's going on in Frederick. Now, it is very, gratuitous. I understand that. It's very the patting on the back, et cetera, et cetera. But at some point, we hope you get to know us because we love to get to know you, the 5 of you who are listening. So instead of talking about music or anything like that, we thought we'd talk about literally anything else. The podcast, of course, is always sponsored by Old Mother Brewing. Those are Chris's boys. He hangs out with them 5 days a week, gets all the beer in the world. But if we could just kind of open this up and spread out a little bit, I thought that would be good. What did you think, Chris?
Let's spread it. Football season's here. Let's talk about the spread. Let's talk about all the things. It's a good time.
Oh, I will spread my legs for anybody. Well, I shouldn't have said that.
Not anybody. You have the standard may be low, but it exists.
Oh no. Does it? So coming into this season, there's going to be a lot of different stuff. So for instance, the second episode of every month is going to be something like this. Literally the only thing that is at the top of the list is to not talk about music. Am I correct, Chris?
No music allowed.
No music allowed, which means you're not going to hear any music. It's just you're going to hear 2 very bland white dudes talking about very bland stuff. Please feel free to give us a negative review. The third week, though, Chris, do you want to tell them about what the third week of the month is supposed to be every month?
The third week is a interesting take on a print format or a written format of your interviews with Frederictonians, not even just Frederictonians, but just people that do cool things here or elsewhere. And it's essentially a behind the scenes kind of thing where for people that don't know, Colin writes I want to say infrequent piece because it's not every week. It's most weeks.
It is. I am very lucky. See, we are being actual adults here. We're talking honestly and not just trying to be stupid
Insane.
People. Yeah, I'm very lucky. The Frederick News Post has said, "Hey, we'll throw things your way. If you want to write this, write it. If you don't. Just let us know what you want to do, and we'll just let you do whatever you want to do." That is literally as somebody, as a freelancer, as a writer, as whatever, that's just the perfect situation. So as what Chris said, I record all of the conversations I have with these people, and the third week of every month we're going to pick one of those and we're going to run that. We're going to have sort of this interview with somebody. We have a very special thing coming up this first month. We won't get to that right now. We'll talk about that maybe later, or we'll just drop it when it drops. But we're going to try to get to know people outside of Frederick, essentially, right? That's the point.
Yeah. And it's a different way to do things better because you're already kind of having the time spent with these people. And I think all the interviews are really good. And I like reading the little bits that are there, but I also am an inside baseball guy. I like to know everything about all of the things all of the time, which drives everybody in my life crazy. But it is really
You're
cool
telling me.
Huge smiles over here, folks. Huge. But I do love to kind of hear the whole thing, and not that anything's ever taken out of context, but I just like kind of hearing the juicy bits sometimes. And so this is all kind of, maybe we just call it the juicy bits episode because that's really what it is.
Yes.
So
or just juicy.
Juicy,
just juicy, like the Notorious B.I.G., man. Juicy. That's
juicy.
it.
And then what I think is kind of cool, and this has been a idea for you for a long time, is the fourth episode of every month is going to be a live in-person Could Be Better Studios recording.
Yeah. That'll be heavy music. Yeah.
Only 808s and breakdowns. Yeah, it's going to be wild.
No,
but that'll be cool.
808s and heartbreaks.
Hey-o.
Yeah,
so,
but you're right. So that's go ahead.
It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be different. It's not gonna be Tree Stop Studios. It's not gonna be Mystery Ton Studios. It's not gonna be Fantagram Prism Outbreak. Jordan, I love you. I just don't know what your new thing is called.
Gypsy
Phantasm?
Cab. Oh
no, he rebranded this year. Yeah. But anyway,
Oh,
it's a cool name. I just can't remember it because I have Gypsy Cab tattooed on my inner thigh. I don't have this new one tattooed anywhere. So yet. That being said, though, it's cool. It's different. And it kind of, if you like music and you skip this episode every month, you get actual live studio music, and it's a cool special thing. So we're already booked up for the year. So if you're interested in wanting to come on, sorry, but
well, you can still email us because maybe we'll actually do a fourth season. We probably won't, but we said that about the second, third, and fourth seasons. So this one, though, Chris, I think you were about to explain it. There is a new feature, of course, this season, as you heard on the first episode, with instead of the specialties, the way we did it before, we kind of switched it up. Chris is probably going to expand on that right now. Explain it to the people.
So this podcast is brought to you in part by Specialties. Specialties, where you can get your first order with them 10% off if you tell them Could Be Better sent you. So again, it's 10% off your first order if you tell them that Could Be Better sent you, and it's special-tees.com. Now, this new segment, people are familiar with our specialties segment, which is 5 rapid fire questions, which technically aren't really rapid fire. Sometimes they were longer, sometimes they were shorter, sometimes they were 5 words, sometimes they were 5 paragraphs. But today we're doing a specialty long tease segment, and there is no time limit to answer, just one question. So, Colin, I'm going to pitch this one to you first because I know you love to talk and share more about your eating habits than anybody else. So this week, you have sent me, and it's a 2-parter, so I don't care because we make the rules. You sent me a photo this week of a loaded nacho triple cheeseburger from Wendy's.
Yes.
Only 12, almost 1,300 calories.
Yes.
The first just top question that I need to ask, and then I'll get into the rest of this, is why?
Why what?
Yeah. Why everything?
I would never eat that, but I wouldn't eat it because of the cheese. I'm not a big cheese person, as we've established, but it actually looks disgusting. Right.
It is the fact that the buns themselves are just so small compared to everything else. I
think they're supposed to be like cheese biscuits, right? Like that's what it looks like. There's cheese in the bun is my point.
Cheese.
Yeah.
Too much cheese. Okay. So here's my question. I know you pretty well. I don't know everything that's on your phone, but I know a lot of what's on your phone. And I want to say
too much.
Yeah, unfortunately. I want to say your phone is, let's say 20% news apps or websites that you've bookmarked. We'll say 20% text from me and other friends and could be better things and all the stuff.
I have no other friends. So.
And then there's 60% of just fast food apps. And we have joked since season 1 that you are a points lover, a points hoarder, a points gatherer, a forager. I don't know what to call it, but you have a problem.
Wow.
I actively avoid fast food apps. Even if I go there, I hate it. No, thank you. Don't want it.
I don't understand that. I know so many people like you. I don't get that, but go ahead.
I know. Okay. So here's my question. I've now set it up. What is the appeal to, like, let's say you go to Bojangles one time and you're like, oh, you have an app? I'm pretty sure you'll go and sit in that restaurant and download this app just so you can use the app for the first time for your one purchase. Please help me understand that. And I know probably my question's longer than your answer, but we'll see how that goes.
Well, first of all, there are a lot of assumptions made about me, but the one you just made was exactly correct. That was 1,000%. I am that person. There is something about the competitive nature of all of it. It's competing with yourself, essentially. I am a very rewards-based person. Like it gets in my way a lot because, for instance, we talk about these jobs. We can spread this into existential life things. If you tell me that, for instance, we're just going to make up something out of thin air, and this really truly is out of thin air. If you tell me that I could make $100,000 a year doing something, and all I need to do is A, B, C, and D, I will do that. I will go, I will do whatever it takes to do A, B, C, and D. So if you tell me that I can get a free Big Mac and all I have to do is A, B, C, and D, that's what I'm going to do. It's a lot like gambling, which, by the way, I have a window up on my computer for the Tampa Bay Rays game right now because I think I really messed this up. But you get to satisfy the sort of competitive spirit in you. You get to satisfy a goal-oriented thing. And this is the thing. I don't even know, Chris, if this is something you've ever really taken advantage of with me, because if you just told me do this, this, and this, and at the end of it, you'll get a free ice cream cone, like, I'll do it. Like, that's really what my view is. It's like, you're giving away free stuff. You're giving away free stuff. And if you're telling me that all I have to do is buy X amount of, like, okay, I'm going to do that anyway, which is the lazy excuse. But at the end of the day, to me, it's very, very much a mental thing.
So I have so many problems with the things that you just said. and so
welcome to season 3.
The first one, it's not free. You literally have to buy things to get a free thing. So if you're telling me that, hey, if I have to buy a shake and a fry and I have to use it through the app in order to get a free Big Mac, one, that is not $100,000 Big Mac. So I don't understand. Two, if you're already getting the milkshake and the fries, I totally understand that. But it's a $3 burger.
What do you mean? What's a $3 burger?
A Big Mac, right?
No, it's more than that.
Listen, I just pulled a Lucille Bluth right now. What does a banana cost? $5.
No, but what I'm saying, yeah, you are. Plus you are very much Lucille Bluth. Like you want to be Jason Bateman, but you're Lucille.
I will take that because she's incredible.
But it's not that. Like my attitude, and this is honestly, a man has to have his own code, like Omar said in The Wire. You have to do that.
Respect. Rip.
This podcast is brought to you in part by Special Tees. Are you in a band that wants merch but does not know where to go? Are you looking for great quality and affordable pricing? Do you have a design that you'd like to put on a koozie for your favorite consumable beverage? How about office swag for your job or giveaway items for all of your events? Okay, you get the point now, but you have to look no further than Special Tees for all your heart's printing desires. The Could Be Better podcast listeners can act now and get 10% of your first order if you tell them Could Be Better sent you. Visit their website at www.special-tees.com or use the link in the show notes to get the conversation started. You can even call ahead and visit their showroom to see all types of products, everything that they offer. Again, telling them Could Be Better sent you via email, phone call, or carrier pigeon. It'll get you 10% off your first order. That's www.special-tees.com. Special Tees. If you haven't worked with them, they want to work with you.
It's funny for people that are on, for people that are tuning into Lifey that doesn't exist anymore. Sorry, not sorry. Colin, I thought was talking into the mic, but he's bobbing his head, and I realized he's whistling, and I couldn't hear the whistles through it. That was very good.
That was good. So, like, you have to have a code. Like, here's the thing, because actually, this happened tonight. I still have not. As we record this, I did not go out and get food before this, but I did have a plan to do that. That plan was to go get a sandwich based on points, and I will leave the name of the establishment out of this. When I realized that that was not possible, I said, I guess I might not eat tonight.
No way. Okay.
That's it.
And my final follow-up, just because I need people to understand the
These
magnitude.
are so many questions.
Yeah, well, that's how the segment now works. It's the specialty long teas, and this is a long thing.
I really like long teas, by the way. I just want to say that.
Bring it back. What's the most amount of points that you have, and what app?
Well, the easiest one is always, it's funny how this works, because it was always the easiest place anyway, but the easiest one is McDonald's. If you go get if you get like a Happy Meal, you'll get 6,000 points. Honestly.
And what, 100 points equals $1?
No, it's different for them. Like maybe it's like 10 cents or something. I don't know. Like if I go and I spend, I don't know, if I spend $10 at McDonald's tonight, I will have thousands of points tomorrow when I go to work, like that type of thing. And that is how my brain works, by the way. So yeah, I mean, the points thing, I like it. I like it in the respect that it's a goal-oriented thing. I already used that phrase.
Sure. Those
things make me happy. And the only pushback that I would say to anything you've said thus far is this idea that it's like, hey, maybe like I'm in the mood for a hamburger from McDonald's tonight. I could go pay $2 for it. Or while I'm just racking this stuff up, I don't got to pay for nothing. In fact, I was actually thinking about that when I had to give up on my sandwich. I thought, you know what I'm going to do? Because I live right down the street from a Burger King, a Wendy's, a McDonald's, and a Taco Bell. I could go get 4 different items from all those places and pay nothing because of the points. That makes me happy. I don't understand why that doesn't make you happy.
Okay. I do have the Taco Bell app because you do get exclusive things that you don't get. And so that's cool. But I don't eat enough fast food for it to be like worth it. So,
right.
Like there's not a huge appeal for me on that, but do I love free stuff? Yes. Yes, I do.
I don't like free stuff that you don't earn. And I feel like this is the type of stuff that you earn.
Oh, yeah. I prefer free that I don't earn, that I totally shouldn't get. And it's the best story ever.
All right. So that's you. I knew you were going to say that somehow. I knew you were going to say that. So
we're two sides of the same free coin, but just very different perspectives.
It's so odd that our brains are exactly alike and incredibly different. So that's the only way I could describe that. It is now my turn to get to the question for you. And the theme for this episode is obviously going to be food. and this is something that I think this is a layered question. I'm not going to have 20,000 follow-ups like you just did and, turn one question into eight. What are you most nervous about cooking? If somebody comes to your place and you want to impress them, is there something that you go to and you say, it's bottom of the ninth, full count, man on first, you're down two, you could tie the ball game. I'm nervous about this, but I know if I hit this out the park, it's great. Like, is there something that you're just scared to cook?
So I think it's a toss up between chicken
You're scared to cook chicken? Really?
and salmon. So
I became
I'm
an expert at salmon at one point in my life, but go ahead.
I'm good at both, but chicken freaks me out because if it's undercooked, like that's not great. You overcook it, it's like real dry and it's not a good time for anybody. But chicken's never a quick thing. Like I'm like hip is at the grill the whole time. And I'm just like, all right, just like I want it to be like juicy. I don't want it to be undercooked. I'm nervous. Salmon, I've gotten pretty good at it recently, but over the
Do you
years, yeah. Go ahead.
do you grill it?
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think when Laura and I moved into our house 5 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that, our gifts, our housewarming gift to each other was a grill, because the place we were at before, um, the landlord didn't allow us to make fish inside. So we loved eating fish, and then it was like, oh, we're just gonna like rage on some salmon. So, so grilling is our cooking option of choice. Now, salmon is, I mean, we just get the frozen stuff from Wegmans, not super fancy, but um, I've had I've had it collapse on me before where I go to take it off the grill and it just like falls in half and then falls into the grill, and that's really
Yeah.
fun. I've had the it's too tough. I've had the skin's real chewy. It's just not good. So if I'm entertaining guests, chicken's an easy thing, right? You can just barbecue sauce, or you can do Italian dressing, or you can like marinate it, and it's just
Sure.
delicious. I have like a barbecue mustard hot sauce mix that I did for a while. It was really good. But then I'd always be like, even today, like last week, I made chicken, and before I brought it in, like showed Laura, I cut the middle of it just to make sure. And yes, I have. And before the haters want to come in here and tell me about the thermometer and all the things you can do, I know it's there, but sometimes I just don't believe it. I need to make sure it's not undercooked. And I got a kid who like I'm trying to eat stuff, and I don't want it to be screwed up, so I'm just very very conscious of it. But yeah, chicken I think is probably salmon. I've confronted my fears with. Chicken I think is the one that I think I'm a little chicken to do.
Yeah. Chicken is more serious. Like if you undercook fish, it's sushi. That's pretty much what that is.
Undercooking chicken is a hospital visit.
Right. And that's tough, but I could understand that. Here's I honestly this will be fun. This will be fun as the months unfold because we will expose how much I don't know you. Do you have nights where you invite people over, for instance, and you're like, I'm gonna grill and I'm gonna grill chicken and fish and steak or whatever. Have you had those nights? And the only reason, let me preface it with this, is because like I've been in those situations and it's like the fish turns out okay. And the steak, steak's anybody's preference. If you want it rare, you can get it rare. If you want it
Mm-hmm.
charcoal, you could do that. But the chicken, if you mess that up,
You're
that's a
done.
problem. So, like, have you had those nights when you have a group? It could be family. I know I'm never on the list to invite when it comes to friends, but that's not what we're talking about. Or are we? Oh, wait, we're not. I didn't mean to say that.
It was so funny when you said, "Hey, have you ever had like, friends over?" I mean, I've not been over. I was waiting for the dig, and I appreciate it and I applaud you. So I have kind friends, and the ones that I invite over for dinner,
So when you make them sick, they say it's okay, Chris.
No, I think I typically will default to overcooking and undercooking. Like, they can go on a little bit longer, and I'll put them back on, and they get dried out. And then people are like, "Oh, Chris, this sauce is really good. Could you give me a little more?" I'm like, "I know it's dry," and I'll come in and I'll own it right away. I'll be like, "Hey, people, this is not my best work. I'm really sorry. I left this on." And then what's nice is I'm so self-deprecating that when they come in, they feel so bad for me that they're like, "Oh no, this is great, Chris." And then they lie to me. And I'm sure that's what they do. And it does make me feel nice. And so far, everyone that I've had over once has come back again. And typically it's not just, I mean, Laura is a great cook. And so she and I will always double team dinners with most nights. Now with Wes around, it's typically like one of us is on West duty, the other person's on dinner duty. And,
Right.
you know, duties are a little bit more divided at this point in time. However, typically she's got some, "Oh, I was thinking I want to do this. It's too much work for just us, but we can do it for other people." And then it's like, cool. Again, back to your goal oriented things. It's like, hey, I like to make Laura happy. And so then she likes to cook. And so then when she says, "Hey, do this," I check off those boxes.
Yeah.
I feel good. I do them right. She's happy about it. It's all good.
Oh, perfect. That is so perfect. I want to say you triggered one story that I have to share very quickly because I know we're running out of time. Um, so this is very, very behind the curtain when it comes to that last Double Motorcycle album. It was during the pandemic, and Joe and I lived together, and Dan and April would come over a little bit every here and there. And one night, it was like, Joe and I had written a couple songs. We are like, Dan, April, come on, like that
Mm-hmm.
nonsense, whatever. And that had happened because they had reached out to us and they said, "Hey, we're bored. Can we come play music?" We're like, "Sure." In the interim, I had cooked chicken. Now,
You do
I
not have a
barb
grill.
well, I don't. I broiled it in the oven,
Nice.
and it was very good. It was barbecued. I had spiced it up. It was very good. The problem was they came over about 30 minutes after it was done. And then we ended up playing for like 2.5 hours, like just the four of us sitting around and playing and nonsense. So we get done, and Dan's like, "Oh, I'm hungry." Well, I have this cooked chicken in the oven. I pull it out. It was so dry.
Oh no.
He got a coffee mug from the cabinet, filled it with ice cold water. And as we were talking, because everybody knows the end of the night, everybody stands around and they talk, he would dip the chicken into this mug of water and eat it. And he kept saying to me, he keep like, "It's not dry, Colin. It's not dry." I to this day it makes me laugh so much. He was literally dipping cooked chicken in a mug of cold water to give it more flavor. That's how good of a cook I am. So that's that.
I was not sure where that story was going to go. And then when you said water, my mind is blown. I was thinking ketchup or like A1 sauce or something, right? But water?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
savage.
yeah. And he was like, "Oh, this is so much better with this water." I'm like, "Oh my God, that that's how bad I am at this."
You know what though? The fact that he knew what to do makes me think he's a terrible chicken cooker. So
He
you're in good company.
he was just sitting there. He's like, "Oh, remember that song?" Then he'd like dip it. Now you can't see the video
Yeah.
feed, but he would just dip it in the mug of water, and he would be like, "Oh, so I think we need to drums should fall out there." And then he'd dip it back in. It was so casual.
Insulting.
It was. I'll never get over it. In fact, I haven't cooked chicken since.
Well, maybe I'll come over sometime in the dinner hours and you can cook me chicken and I won't dip it in water.
You will.
Yeah, I probably will. Man, well, let's wrap up. I feel like this was a great first first try. Maybe we'll get a gold star, we'll see. Um tell us if you like this segment or don't. because we gave away Texas Roadhouse gift cards last year, and you guys definitely didn't respond about that. So why would you tell us?
Wow.
Why would you tell
Not-
us this episode sucks or not?
Not that
But
you're bitter.
not that I'm bitter, but I am full because we got a lot of leftover steaks, and they were delicious.
That is true. There is. I was going to ask you about this, but I'll just ask you on
Mhm.
air because nobody's listening. One of those. Oh boy. Oh, it was good. I've messed up a lot of them, but I think it might have been the ribeye. Did we get ribeyes in that? No.
We got like 14 or 16-ounce steaks, and then we got 12-ounce steaks because we were both scared about overcooking big steaks.
But
so
do you know the cut though? The cuts for those? I think one might have been a ribeye. I really do.
It's either that or they're all. Hold on, I'm looking it up.
It was like butter. It was like butter cutting into it. It was so good.
I'm getting close. Here we go. Hang on.
There we go.
Steaks
Well, I've heard that. I'm getting close.
and
Just never.
products.
never.
So they were. You're right. They were all ribeyes because I thought we
No,
thought
they
about
were
getting.
not all of them. There's no way they were all that. There was probably some strips, right?
I was
New
about
York
to say,
strips.
It was either we did New York strips or we did ribeyes, but I think we did all because they were all pretty much like the same price. We got some like filet medallions, which is pretty good, or some filet tips. Those are pretty good.
The tips are good. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we just did the ribeyes because there it is. Yeah. We all got ribeyes, and then we got 12, and then we got 16-ounce ones. 16-ounce ones are big boys.
I think the one that I cooked was the 16 ounce because I cut that up to put in a salad. As I sent you a picture of that. That was
it looked very good.
like those. It was butter. Shout out Texas Roadhouse. It was
Yeah.
good. It'll never get that good again.
Yeah. Season 2 sponsors, RIP. They were so great. And for folks that are interested, the Texas Roadhouse place has a mascot. And if you go to our YouTube, you'll see on the last episode, in the last like 5 minutes, I go digging through Colin's closet to find this Texas Roadhouse mascot, which I don't even know what it is anymore.
It's an armadillo. It's
Yeah.
an armadillo.
Yeah. Insane. Well, speaking of armadillos, everything that you care about that is potentially music related is in our show notes. So if you care about our shows, if you care about other things that are coming up, they're all in the show notes. They're all on our calendar, all on our things. Thanks for listening. Colin, what do you have to say to the people before we go?
We're gonna keep this short. Every time we do this type of episode, we're gonna keep this short, and I hope you enjoy it. If you don't, you can maybe drive over to Carroll Creek and put your head in the water and not come up.
Shake it around a little bit. All right.
Yeah, that's it. But thank you so much for listening.
The Could Be Better podcast is recorded at the Could Be Better Studios somewhere in the middle of Maryland.
This state-of-the-art facility has welcomed in everyone from Ringo Starr to 50 Cent. It can accommodate all of your podcast needs.
What?
Never mind. If you like what you hear, follow us on Instagram, Facebook Threads, and Zanga. Do not forget to check out our website, www.couldbebettermeh.com.
Also, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Overcast, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts if you want to make sure we come back for a 4th season. Or don't, and maybe we'll listen to you.
Well, plus don't forget to check out all of our brother and sister podcasts exclusively within the Could Be Better network.
And if all else fails, hey, at least come out to a show every now and then.
Wait, we do shows?
This is so much fun. I'm Chris Perry.
And I'm Colin McGuire. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. And don't forget, this could always be better.
The Could Be Better podcast is proud to be a part of the Could Be Better podcast network. We're passionate about creating and using these platforms to dive into topics such as exploring lo-fi, impulsive, small, and otherwise overlooked artworks and creative practices, what happened in the world this week and how to laugh through or at it, and hearing stories from musicians of all walks of life. Check out these podcasts. Could Be Better podcast. This is not my magnum opus. The Weekly with Kiki, and a brand new show with Stitcherly called The Population, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can visit couldbebettermeh.com/podcasts in the show notes to see the current shows on the Could Be Better podcast network. Let's hang out as we figure out more about ourselves, the community around us, and why Ted Lasso is the greatest show of all time.